plan and agreed with all but 2 sections.
There were 2 of the findings which referred to lifetime probation for people who were convicted of obscene pornography. We felt that those would not be appropriate to have lifetime probation. The other one we had that we did not approve was to set up a special government function, a government agency that would counsel people who had been involved, who were victims of obscene pornography. We felt that was not necessary since there are counseling programs now to take care of all types of victims.
That board said the forfeiture of illegal money is already law in California. But not everybody is pleased with the Attorney General's plan. The American Civil Liberties Union says it violates the First Amendment.
This federal campaign will certainly not make Americans safer from sexual assault, but it may very well erode constitutional values of privacy and free expression.
The ACLU also says that local law enforcement would only be diverted from public safety in fighting pornography. Wendy.
Here in the Southland, a teacher for mentally impaired youths has been indicted for involuntary manslaughter in the death of an autistic boy at the Fairview Development Center in Costa Mesa. Gene Warnicke allegedly tried to subdue a 14-year-old student who was throwing furniture around a classroom by wrapping him in an exercise mat. The boy stopped breathing and couldn't be revived. A Downey hospital has received many phone calls following news reports of an unidentified man hospitalized since August, but still no one has identified him. The victim has been at the Rancho Los Amigos Medical Center since he was struck by a truck when he ran into traffic in Santa Monica. The man suffered head injuries and is alert but unable to speak. Doctors say the man is in his mid-20s.
Well, just ahead on our news tonight, there may be big trouble ahead for the Van Nuys GM plant and the people who work there. Police officers dodge sniper shots on the south side. And Oregon voters turned legal pot into a burning issue.
Stouffer's introduces Dinner Supreme and invites a comparison. Compare our big whole pieces of juicy chicken breast to anyone's. Compare our flaky white flounder fillet to anyone's. And our generous cuts of tender quality beef to anyone's. Because once you taste it, we think you'll agree. Stouffer's new Dinner Supreme is so good. There's no other frozen dinner to compare it to. New Dinner Supreme. 8 complete dinners from Stouffer's. As good as dinner can be.
A nice and soft moment.
My baby, do you want the moon to play with, or the stars to run away with? They'll come if you don't cry.
There's a special softness in nice and soft bathroom tissue, especially for you.
When an urgent package leaves your hands, make sure the hands you leave it in can deliver. Express Mail overnight service from your post office delivers over city, over state, overnight, over whatever stands in the way. Over 97% of the time and climbing. For about half what most others charge. £2, just $10.75. Express Mail overnight service. When we say overnight, we mean overnight.
This year, if you want your money to go further, you don't have to go far at all. Your local Subaru dealer has prices starting as low as $56.96. See your Southern California Subaru dealer.
Some tough times may be ahead in the Valley. GM workers across the country are bracing for what could be a bad winter. Officials today reveal they may be forced to close at least 3 plants, including the one in Van Nuys. That plant has already had its second shift eliminated and has long been targeted for high production costs. News 13's Wanda Stark tells us its future could be tied to the showroom.
James Scagnelli is what you'd call a big Camaro fan, and he should be. He makes a living selling Chevrolets. He calls the Camaro the car that sells itself, and in Southern California, it's a car that's selling well.
So far this year, they're our 3rd best-selling car line. very good.
But the sales picture in this showroom is much brighter than many in other parts of the country. As a result, the economic picture for workers at GM plants is getting dim. Here at this plant in Van Nuys, workers assemble Chevrolet Camaros and Pontiac Firebirds. GM officials say unless they sell more of those cars, this plant may be shut down. Some of the workers say the GM statement is a ploy the company uses all the time.
Every time they want to get they want to touch our wages or increase, or decrease the wages in one way or another.
But others aren't so sure this isn't the end of the line.
Possibility, very strong possibility. But who knows?
You can't help but think about it because it is a possibility.
Workers here should know something definite by the middle of next month. In Van Nuys, Wanda Stark, News 13.
Here are the numbers. GM said today its costly buyer incentive programs caused a third quarter loss of over $338 million.
Tim, a change of mood in this next story. It was a day of celebration in Washington today. Calling the old tax system blatantly unfair, President Reagan today signed into law a new tax code that will affect virtually every American.
The bill I'm signing today is not only an historic overhaul of our tax code and a sweeping victory for fairness, it's also the best anti-poverty bill, the best pro-family measure, and the best job creation program ever to come out of the Congress of the United States.
The new tax bill slashes the top tax rate from 50% to 33%, eliminates many popular deductions and loopholes, and lowers corporate tax rates. It also removes about 6 million of the nation's poorest taxpayers from the rolls. The new law will be fully in effect by 1988. Back home, hundreds of farmers marched outside of the L.A. City Hall today to protest Proposition 65. The initiative would limit toxic chemicals from being discharged into the water. But farmers say the proposition would put them out of business by banning key pesticides. However, Mayor Bradley supports that bill.
Letting him know that we really wish that he would not have exempted so many things, and we feel that he is doing it for political reasons and not actually cleaning up toxic water.
Farmers say the size and quality of their crops would diminish if Prop 65 passes. However, proponents of the initiative say Prop 65 would only affect 2% of the pesticides used by farmers. Tim.
Little political give and take. A group called the Planning and Conservation League issued its annual report card on the governor's environmental actions, and George Deukmejian scored a C- for 1986 and a D+ for his 4 years in office. The PLC, a conservation lobbying group, rated the governor on 13 environmental topics.
Provided very little leadership to resolve California's major environmental problems, including toxics, growth control, and others. Overall, Governor Deukmejian has a poor record on environmental issues.
The governor's lowest grades were on coastal issues, toxics, and forestry issues. His highest grades were B's for his handling of water and energy issues. Now, Deukmejian's campaign spokeswoman said today past PLC reports on the governor have been issued in December and called the pre-election timing of this one obviously political.
Jim, while the government is asking all of us to just say no to drugs, some people in the state of Oregon are bucking that trend. Instead of waging war on drugs, they want to make peace with one illegal substance. Trish Nyworth reports on efforts to legalize marijuana on the November ballot.
Proponents argue the issue isn't whether you're for or against marijuana use, but what adults' rights are in their own homes.
If an adult in this society has made the choice to use marijuana, let them do it in the most limited of circumstances and don't arrest them and jail them for it.
Those in favor say that too much law enforcement time is wasted on going after marijuana growers, when the money could be better used for anti-drug education or catching harder drug dealers.
We're putting far too much emphasis on law enforcement and expecting our police to solve what is really a social problem and a health problem.
Opponents argue that the measure itself is flawed. It doesn't specify where marijuana could legally be smoked, it doesn't limit how much could be grown or used, and it makes the legal age 18.
If we say to our young people, now go ahead, grow and consume as much marijuana, it's all right, it's good, no problem with it at all, because I think it would send the wrong kinds of messages to the young people today.
Critics point to studies showing marijuana is a dangerous drug, and they predict it could lead to more crime and drug use if legal in Oregon. Polls taken on ballot measure 5 show its chances for passing are slim. Still, others in states where the measure may be considered are watching closely to see what will happen in Oregon.
Oregon is one of the top 5 marijuana-producing states in the country. A similar effort to legalize pot is being made right here in California, another major source of the drug.
In New York, former baseball player Joe Pepitone was sentenced today to 6 months in jail on drug charges. A New York judge told Pepitone he would now be wearing prison pinstripes instead of his familiar Yankee pinstripes. After sentencing, Pepitone's mother and brother were outraged.
I'm just disgusted. Joe was a fine guy all his life. He made a mistake, I grant it, but that's about it.
No one ruined my career. Joe's my brother. I love him. He's the best Yankee ever.
Pepitone was convicted last month of possessing 300 narcotics pills and drug paraphernalia. His lawyer will appeal the sentence. Back in L.A., police are still trying to track down a sniper who opened fire on 2 officers in the Newton area last night. Now, the officers were not hurt, but helicopters were called in and dog teams went door to door searching for the sniper. The policemen were arresting a drunk when he pushed a shopping cart into their car and took off running. Then 6 shots rang out from the distance. Nobody was hit. The drunken man got away, and the sniper was never found.
And in Palos Verdes today, a freak accident at a construction site caused a worker to drown in a sewer pipe. 69-year-old David Del Rio was repairing that pipe with his son when the accident happened.
The backhoe struck a 8-inch water main, which instantly flooded the new storm drain, and the victim was washed down to the end of the project. One other worker in the storm drain, which was the victim's son, escaped. He attempted to save his father, however, he was unable to do so.
Del Rio's son says he heard the water coming and tried to warn his father, but it was too late. Well, a warning today from the State Water Quality Board. They say all the oil refineries in Los Angeles County are sitting on pools of petroleum. The worst case is at the Mobile Refinery in Torrance, where the plant sits on petroleum products 25 feet thick. Mobile admits finding the oil leak 5 years before reporting it. All 14 refineries in the county showed some petroleum pools. Authorities say they are potentially explosive, but not an immediate danger.
10:21 past the hour. Straight ahead on our news, the Soviets say they have killed a spy who was working for this country. The Russians also play a part in a joyful homecoming in L.A. And thousands of Africans march in the streets demanding vengeance for a fallen leader. Stay with us.
Hi, watch Nightlife tonight. It's got me, David Brenner. It's got Billy Preston. It's got the Nightlife Band. It's got special guests. It's got a lot of great things being done by a lot of great people. And it's got a great audience. You. That's Nightlife. Tonight.
You can go to bed with a smile on your face because the switch is on to Nightlife with David Brenner and Billy Preston tonight at 11 on Channel 13.
Nice game.
We may be retired, but we sure are active.
And we still enjoy ourselves, even on fixed incomes.
You see this star? It's how the GTE Yellow Pages tells us this shop offers discounts to seniors.
Hundreds of businesses give discounts, of course, and the GTE Yellow Pages tells you who they are quickly and easily with this special star.
We shop the stars now in the GTE Yellow Pages.
And we save.
Pretty good price, but we're going to shop around a little more. So far, best of 12, but there's a sale on down the street.
Sometimes just knowing that Leo Stereo always has the right price can save you a lot of wear and tear.
Okay, you're the lowest. We'll take it.
Leo Stereo, always the right price.
Okay, team, here's the game plan. Go to Vons and pick up your free scratch and win puzzle game card.
Win!
80,000 prizes, including Raiders tickets and yearbooks. Scratch and win, then go for the 80 grand prizes. Match your game card puzzle piece with a one at your participating Nissan dealer and win. One of 40 Nissan hard-body trucks, or one of 40 round trips to the Caribbean islands on American Airlines. Where's the instant win? Bonds. And where's the grand prize win?
Nissan dealers.
The giant scratch and win puzzle game at Bonds.
It is now round 4 in the expulsion war between Washington and Moscow as the Soviets order 5 more American diplomats out of the country. Soviet leader Gorbachev went on Soviet TV today, launched a scathing attack on the U.S. for yesterday's expulsion of 55 Soviets. He called the order outrageous, said he will not put up with the actions of the Reagan administration. In addition to today's expulsions, the Kremlin has also withdrawn 260 Soviet employees from the U.S. Embassy in Moscow and the U.S. Consulate in Leningrad. Also from the Soviet Union, news of a convicted spy and his execution. No name released, but the Soviet news agency TASS says the man was a top aviation design expert in Moscow convicted of spying for our country. He was reportedly exposed by CIA turncoat Edward Howard, who was suspected of selling secrets to Moscow and surfaced there last August after escaping the FBI.
Tim, the divide that does exist between the United States and the Soviet Union has not only had an impact on diplomatic relations, for some, the effect has been much more personal. Entire families have been kept apart. But tonight, 7 families were reunited at LAX, and News 13's Greg Wyatt has a look at one very special story.
How I like America.
Avedis Majarian came to America in 1971. He was forced by the Russian government to leave his son, Kevork, and his daughter behind. All he had were these pictures. After 15 years of fighting, 15 years of shuttling letters from the United States and Russian embassies in Moscow, the fight to reunite his family ended happily this evening at LAX. He spotted his son, who is now 32 years of age. The Soviet Union finally gave up its fight to keep Kevork in his Russian home of Odessa. The last hurdle was cleared in May. Tonight, he's free in L.A.
Now it's finished. The dream is over. Now it's real stuff.
Avedis has said this is his son's first birthday. His first birthday in freedom. Greg Wyatt, News 13.
And Mr. Majarian says the fight is not over yet. He still will work to get his daughter and his son's family out of the Soviet Union and into the United States.
Overseas, the South African government has lost one of its staunchest supporters. The whites-only Dutch Reformed Church has decided to denounce apartheid, the policy it has supported for the past century. The church declared racism a sin, voted to allow blacks, Asians, and people of mixed race to join its ranks. But it also reaffirmed its support for segregated education. Violence triggered by the death of Mozambique President Machel continues in southern Africa. Riot police once again had to fight back demonstrators in Zimbabwe as they demanded the release of students who were arrested during yesterday's rampage. That rampage aimed at the South African government. African leaders have been pointing the finger at Pretoria for the plane crash that killed Machel and 33 others. The South African government has dismissed those accusations, calling them irresponsible.
And please stay with us. Coming up next, Mike Chamberlain with Game 4 of the World Series. He will tell us how the Mets played long ball to get even.
Hey, did you ever fly one of those airlines, no frills? I did. Oh, forget about it. But there was no place in my bag. They said put it under your seat. There was a guy sitting there. Oh, I tell you, no frills was right. I ordered leg of lamb. I couldn't get past the wool. Now I fly Western. It don't cost any more, and they treat you like you're somebody. Even if you're nobody.
Western Airlines to 68 cities. It's the only way to fly.
Well, the thing is, lots of financial institutions will tell you how big and how safe they are. We think our customers deserve a lot more than just a safe place to put their money. One thing they deserve, for example, is having higher interest rates on higher balances. At California Federal, we came up with an account that does just that, and it's called tiered savings, keeping our customers' money safe and giving them a good return on their dollar. That's what Cal Fed means when he talks about well-managed money.
Nothing beats a Stouffer's pizza, luscious toppings on a French bread crust so crispy brown. All those great ingredients, it's so easy to pick up, but so hard to put down. Help yourself, help yourself, help yourself to Stouffer's pizza. Real cheese toppings, yes indeed. Just one hand is all you need. Help yourself, help yourself, help yourself to Stouffer's pizza. Help yourself to Stouffer's pizza.
77 had part of their stock investments indexed compared to
I have an idea. Go out.
Late chokehold by Andre, referee.
Feel the power. Samsung Electronics.
Sports is brought to you by Western Airlines, the only way to fly.
And before we get to sports, we have this news in on our lead story tonight. That 3-week-old kidnapped baby that we told you about earlier has been found alive in Riverside, and 2 people have been arrested on kidnapping charges. Laura Howard was taken at gunpoint from her Riverside home more than 24 hours ago yesterday. A tipster who saw a news report drawing of the woman thought to be the kidnapper called the police. Police knocked on the door of a couple named Tim and Elsie Ricken, who claimed the baby was theirs, according to police. But police say they identified the baby as Laura Howard. She is apparently in good condition. The couple arrested on charges of kidnapping her are now being questioned. It is now time for sports. Mike Chamberlain is here, and the rule is meant to be broken principle is in effect here again.
Well, I know it. I don't know what's going on.
They won away from home.
Well, you think they're both very vocal cities. New York fans very vocal. The Boston fans very vocal. You think they would win at home. Right. Hasn't happened yet. I don't know what's going on.
Strange series.
But let's talk about it anyway. Hi, everybody. It is time for sports. And oh my goodness, the World Series is now tied at 2. New York rode the brilliant pitching of Ron Darling and hit 3 home runs tonight. The Mets beat Boston 6-2, and suddenly the Fall Classic becomes a best 2 out of 3 confrontation. You know, Fenway is one of only 3 parks without an electric scoreboard, so they have to use their imagination. Flash messages to the crowd like that. But it was New York doing most of the flashing tonight. 4th inning, and Gary Carter hits a high fly ball to deep left. Is this gone? Yeah, it is. It clears the Green Monster. 2-0 New York. Later in the inning, Ray Knight singles right back up the middle. Darryl Strawberry comes on to score, and that makes it 3-zip. 3 times in the first 5 innings, Boston had a runner at third, but each time Darling got out of the jam. The 6th inning featured dueling arms. From the left fielders, first, Boston's Jim Rice catches the line drive, then throws a strike to the plate to nail Carter, who was tagging from third. Then in the bottom of the inning, Rich Gedman lines off the monster, but Mookie Wilson plays the bounce perfectly, turns, wheels, fires, and throws out Gedman, trying to stretch it into a double, and there it is, bing bang. Mets make it 5-0 in the 7th with the help of a flashback. Remember Dave Henderson in Game 3 against the Angels? Well, watch Dwight Evans on this line drive by Lenny Dykstra. The look on Evans' face tells the story. He'll never forget that almost catch. But the Mets weren't done talking yet. 8th inning, and Carter connects on another. He clears the wall. He clears the net. He clears his throat. Clears everything. Anyway, it's his 2nd homer of the game. Forgive me. Darling pitched 7 scoreless innings. New York only runs came after he had left the game, so it is even at 2 games apiece now. Tomorrow it'll be Bruce Hurst against Dwight Gooden, and one more time they're playing in Boston. Well, the postseason awards are beginning to roll in. Today, UPI named their all-star team. 2 Dodgers were named to it. Steve Sachs at second base, Fernando Valenzuela as the left-handed pitcher. No Angels, ironically, were picked to that all-star team today. The Kings begin a long, hard road trip, 2.5 weeks on the road, and they started it the hard way tonight. They lose in overtime to the New York Rangers 5-4. Kings take a 3-2 lead in the first period, thanks to 2 more goals by rookie Luc Robitaille. The first comes on the rebound right there, and the second comes off a power play. Robitaille again planted on the near side, just slaps it in. But the Rangers battle back to tie. Here's one that really hurts. Bob Brooks' shot goes right between the legs of Darren Elliott. And now we go to overtime. Only 26 seconds left. Elliott makes 2 saves, but not the third. Mark Osborne knocks it into the net. The Rangers win their first overtime game since January of 1985. Also, Calgary rips Edmonton, Vancouver leads Boston, and we got more highlights. Let's go to Pittsburgh, where the Penguins do it again. First period, Mike Blaisdell bangs it home right in front. And then in the second period, Kevin Lavalle parks on the corner of the net, and he'll finally knock in the rebound. The Penguins go on to win their 7th straight. They remain undefeated. Also, Montreal wins tonight, Quebec rolls, and Minnesota down the St. Louis Blues. NFL news, a scare for the San Francisco 49ers this afternoon. Top draft pick Larry Roberts collapsed while leaving a team meeting, and he was rushed to a hospital. They've been testing Roberts ever since, but so far they're calling it merely a dizzy spell. Meanwhile, Joe Montana continues his quick comeback from back surgery. He's now taking snaps from the center and running the offense.
Spinal surgery itself will not be the problem as to when he comes back. They feel that even at this moment he is can play much more safely than he did the previous 2 years right at this moment. The spinal aspect of it is not the concern. It's the strength, gaining the strength back.
Well, speaking of quarterbacks, Doug Flutie, wearing number 2, practiced for the first time with the Chicago Bears today, and you can just tell how excited Jim McMahon was. He's number 9 back there by watching his warm-up in the background. Jim, don't take it so serious. By the way, this is just in over our Nightline news wires. Henry Ellert has ended his 88-day holdout. Tonight he re-signed, not resigned, but re-signed with the Rams for the rest of the season. He was the team's leading receiver last year and is the NFL's all-time leading punt returner. He'll definitely add some punch to the Ram offense, and they're going to look for that this coming Sunday. So that's a look at sports. You're up to date.
No wrestling hold, no sports star, nothing funny.
Just one of those ho-hum days in sports. No, we got the wrestling hold for you on Friday night.
Okay. Thank you.
You bet.
Still ahead on News 13 tonight. We're going to tell you what a few six-packs can do for your chance of having a stroke. And we're going to look at an exercise that helps you spring back into shape by stretching a rubber band.
Quick release. Exhale.
With a Mercedes, you get an 800 number, so you can phone for assistance day or night. With a Hyundai, you get the same thing, but you save about $30,000 on the call. Hyundai, cars that make sense.
Sometimes you can be taken for quite a ride when you rent a car one way with steep one-way costs and frightful drop-off charges. But at National, rent one way for just $10 a day over our regular daily rates. So go one way with National.
If you could build the best performance car in the world, you'd want the best gasoline. Chevron unleaded gasolines with the high-tech Techroline additive. The best at controlling deposits while cleaning intake systems. Not just fuel injectors, complete intake systems. Chevron with Techroline. Now you can drive the best no matter what car you drive. Is one gasoline really the best?
Books cost too much, so I opened Crown Books. Now you'll never have to pay full price again. We have over 10,000 books to choose from. The Reckoning. David Halberstam writes how the Japanese stole our automobile business, just $11.97. And one more time, Carol Burnett's story of growing up on the wrong side of Hollywood's tracks, just $11.37. Crown's one place you can't judge a book by its cover, price. So remember, if you paid full price, you didn't buy it at Crown Books.
I've made myself pretty secure. Definitely have done that. But like I told you, if I spend a buck, I don't have to worry about making that back tomorrow. And I want to take another trip down there in that Caribbean. It's nice sitting on that old ship and let her float down the line. Can't beat it.
Harold Arlen doesn't take chances with his money. Neither does Home Savings.
The kids won't have to fight over anything. I told them that when I go take a trip. I said, I'm spending your inheritance. They say, go ahead and spend it.
From our health file tonight, men who drink heavily are 4 times more likely than non-drinkers to have a stroke. In a new study, a British researcher found a strong link between men who consume more than 30 drinks a week and all types of strokes. It is still not known how drinking is associated with strokes. The study also shows light to medium drinkers have twice the risk of getting a stroke. Well, some bad news for cocaine users. Researchers at Stanford University are putting together a report which links the drug to heart damage. Manuel Ramos has more.
Researchers at Stanford Medical Center believe cocaine is killing users, either with sudden massive heart attacks or by slowly weakening the heart. They studied the heart tissue of 30 dead cocaine users from San Francisco. All but 2 showed heart damage, leading them to believe that coke hurts the heart.
You may wipe out a lot of muscle cells and therefore get a heart attack, or you may be causing an irregular heartbeat to occur, some of which may be, in fact, lethal to the patient.
Researchers believe coke causes little heart attacks that scar the cells and weakens the heart. On the right are healthy heart cells, all pink. On the left is a cocaine user's heart cells. The dark lines are lesions. Long-term coke users know the drug somehow affects their heart. This user, we'll call DK, says that once his heart started pumping very strangely after injecting the drug.
You get the rush, the normal rush that you actually look for from cocaine, but this particular one just kept coming and kept coming and kept coming and kept coming until I felt that eventually my heart was going to just explode.
We feel that people may, in fact, be doing damage to their heart that they're unaware of. And then 20 or 30 years down the road, in the case of a young person, say, who's using cocaine, they may end up getting the usual type of atherosclerosis, and their hearts may already be weakened, from something they've done years ago.
This is Manuel Ramos reporting.
Still with health news, a surprising number of hospital patients say they have been discharged prematurely, often leading to serious medical problems. A recent survey, more than 2 million Americans say they were readmitted for serious problems because they were discharged from a hospital way too soon. The study shows Medicare patients are released earlier because of a government policy that pays the hospital based on the type of illness, not on the length of stay. Keeping fit is almost an obligation when you live in Southern California, and so is keeping up on the latest exercise trends. The in-ways to sweat have included Nautilus, Universal Aerobics, and the rowing machine. Now there is one to add: rubber bands. Andrea Kaiser has this report.
Workout enthusiasts are always looking for ways to keep people interested in fitness and to keep the market for exercise products growing. The latest gimmick is not a $50 aerobic shoe or a $100 leotard. It's a $2 rubber band, which can be bought at any hardware store.
And press down, cross, and out, and up, and down.
At many clubs, fitness instructors have dropped the weights from their classes and are pulling out the rubber bands. A fully stretched piece of elastic, they say, can work just like a weight by providing resistance, which builds up muscles.
We really now have a tool to help people work their muscles through a resistant process, which aids greatly in the toning and the efforting and the placement of the body while you're doing exercises. I say most importantly that rubber bands help people maximize their efforting in the room so that they can come away with the best results.
Those who are snapped up into the rubber band craze say it's safer than weightlifting.
You're not working against an immovable object. So it's almost you are in partnership with that rubber band instead of working with something outside yourself, something that isn't coming at you like a machine or a handheld weight from the outside.
But not all fitness instructors are worked up over this new workout.
A person would be much better off spending both their time and money using weight training equipment if that person's goal is primarily to develop strength and or muscle size.
University of Southern California professor Dr. Jarondola says a rubber band can also be dangerous if it snaps near the face. Still, the market for rubber banding is stretching across the country with the recent release of this new home video, which was endorsed by the Academy of Family Physicians.
Pull, release, exhale.
I'm Andrea Kaiser in Los Angeles.
You could hear the doors of Nautilus places closing all over L.A.
It really kind of makes you wonder what new use they're going to come up with for a paperclip.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Stay with us just ahead on News 13. Mike McKay will be here with the weather, and Christmas may be months away, but some L.A. merchants are saying bah humbug to an ordinance that may leave holiday decorations out in the cold.
When the going gets rough, and it seems like the forces of evil are just trying to make your life miserable, it's time to declare Red Alert.
You'd better be prepared to do more than that.
So that's why the Starship Enterprise is always prepared with nightly voyages.
Seem a logical precaution.
Because these guys patrol the toughest beat of all.
Where?
Where no man has gone before. Beam up to Star Trek, weeknights at 11:30 on your Earth Station, Channel 13.
At today's pace, you need to streamline your financial activities. Introducing Advantage Banking from Great American. Highly efficient services, all designed to help you save money, move money, and make money with a minimum of time and effort. Discover Advantage Banking wherever you see Great American's distinctive red, white, and blue symbol. At a time when you need every financial advantage, Great American is soaring above the rest. Great American, your Advantage Bank.
Get there any way you can. Get to your Mazda dealer's Moving Days. Get there for great deals on every 87 RX-7 in stock, 2+2s, and even intercooled turbos. RX-7, winner of the IMSA GTU Championship 7 straight years. So get there any way you can for incredible savings on 87 RX-7s before Mazda's Moving Days are over.
Get a great deal at your Southern California Mazda dealers today.
We made it! Our first real deal! Now if we can just make our flight. Oh, you're hot, you're hot.
Agent, we got red hot cars, red hot cars. We got a red hot crew, we got a red hot crew. We got super value rates, we try harder too. Agent, we're red hot for you.
And how good a deal did we get on that car?
When you're hot, you're hot.
Avis, red hot.
This rubber band story generating a good deal of talk in the studio. McKay's got something. You're talking about paper clips.
Well, Wendy mentioned a paper clip, and now that's an old trick if you go back to early babysitting days. If you had a youngster you wanted to amuse, you take two paper clips, hook them together, and give them to the child and say, get them apart. You know. Of course, this is, in my family, the relatives aren't that sharp. It took them 4 or 5 hours to get those paper clips apart. But if you were the babysitter, it wasn't so bad. This is a record day, or was a record day, 21 years ago for heat in Los Angeles. And even in San Diego, they got very warm down there. If you were around these parts in 1965, what are you going to find? Well, we'll show you in a minute. First of all, we're going out to Hollywood, Chinese theater. Oops. Oh, now I've done it. Broke the whole system here. Well, let's put up a number anyway. Let's see. We'll do this by a cappella, I guess. 64 is the current temperature. Relative humidity is 87%. The barometer 29.89. Is it working? It may be. 84 was the high today. It got a lot warmer than we thought it was, 4 or 5 degrees. That's because the clouds got a little bit of a tear in them. Okay, here we go. October 22nd, 21 years ago, it was 100 degrees in Los Angeles. In San Diego, it hit 104. And just a reminder of how all that hot air got here, it was from a Santa Ana, or as some people call, a Santana winds. We'll get into that discussion one night. But if you were around 1965, you were perspiring, huh? Here's some very serious activity in the Midwest, the Great Lakes. We've touched about this or talked about it once in a while. Here's the official graph as they head now into the fall storm season. Lake Superior is 3/4 of a foot above normal, but look at Lake Michigan and Lake Huron, more than 2.5 feet above normal. Of course, in November especially, we get a lot of wind activity in the Great Lakes, and that water is going to cause a lot of problems in shore erosion. This little one down here is not actually part of the Great Lakes. In case you wonder, geography lesson, that is Lake St. Clair, which connects, of course, Lake Erie and Lake Huron. Ontario is the one in the best shape, but they're all way above normal. And the big discussion has always been, actually, are they above normal or have they been low in recent years? Remember, these go back several thousand years, so maybe they're just getting back to a normal item, but now we've got a lot of people living around them. A lot of moisture tonight, most of it from the former Hurricane Roslyn. They've got flash flood warnings in many places in Texas, 1.75 inches of rain in Oklahoma City today, and we've got a much more serious problem here on the West Coast. I don't know what to do. I'm going to have to send this map back to the Paste and Cut crew because California is pulling away from Oregon. Can we get that straightened out by tomorrow? I certainly hope so. There's a lot of moisture off the coast, and it could cause some problems. Now, theoretically, it's going to come in here and just kind of dissipate, but if it doesn't, there's enough there, and there's another storm behind it to give us some clouds. And so what we're looking for tomorrow is Mississippi Valley, Ohio Valley, Tennessee Valley rain for us. We'll have a low-pressure system over here by Four Corners, the next system coming in to the northwest, and it could reach northern California by the following day. So we've just got to include a few clouds for the next few days. Temperatures will begin to warm up a bit, and of course that means the air quality starts to go downhill again. It's just one goes with the other's hands. That's tomorrow's highs around the area. The forecast comes out this way, and a beautiful shot of the moon. Let's call it variable cloudiness. There could be a little AM cloud along the coast too. Friday we'll call it partly cloudy. Saturday we'll just reverse it and call it partly sunny. But all in all, no major storms coming our way, so it looks fairly benign.
We like that partly sunny.
Get out there
for
with
the
your
weekend.
rubber bands and do your thing.
Thank you, Mike.
Michael, thank you. Story for you now. It is called eye pollution. And as the holiday seasons creep up on us, it is becoming a source of some argument. It began with some local citizens angered by brightly colored aggressive advertising in store windows. It has led to some pretty nasty name calling. Christmas is coming and the merchants are really steamed. At issue, new city ordinances that restrict festive, though admittedly hard to miss, decorations on storefronts. And that is why Stan Neville came to work dressed for combat today. That's his Santa out front. He says despite the threat of a $1,000 fine and a stay in jail, Santa stays.
Yeah, that was it. Outrage. You know, I've done Santa Claus every year, and I saw this as the anti-Santa Claus law.
All of the store windows and all of the billboards in all of L.A. are under the careful scrutiny of the city. If they are too flashy or too trashy, they can be taken down. In our town, there are expansive showbiz billboards. There are informative and tasteful billboards, offensive to nobody. But the beef at the moment is not with billboards. It is storefronts.
Signs were competing with each other to a point that they were not meaningful.
550 warnings have been issued to store owners in the valley. Warnings that could lead to big fines if the signs that occupy more than 10% of the storefront's window space are not torn down.
I want to let Hannah know that her hearing instrument is available for pickup.
Now consider the dilemma of Rick Farrell, who owns a hearing aid store. His new neon sign depicting an ear is too big by city standards. He says if Santa is allowed to stay, so should his sign.
Absolutely. Who said that Santa Claus didn't have ears? He had ears, there's an ear. We're showing what our store does.
For Stan Neville, all this publicity is an unexpected windfall of attention.
And one of the means that I have for telling people that there's a good deal going on in here is through my window. I can't afford the television and newspaper ads, so that's my one way of doing it.
Well, now you've got them both.
Yes, I certainly have.
It looks like the city is backing off now on the holiday decorations and may, in fact, allow Santas and pilgrims and goblins if the store owners pay a $32 fee. But if the hype does not concern a holiday, the building inspectors will go to work. Wendy.
All kinds of subtle plugs going on in that story there, Tim. A little rumbling going on up north. Mount St. Helens, the volcano in Washington that erupted several years ago, may be getting ready to explode again. Brooks Burford reports on an increased seismic activity that may signal another volcanic eruption.
This is the 24th eruption of Mount St. Helens in the past 6.5 years. Lava is oozing out of the top of the mammoth lava dome sitting on the volcano's mile-wide crater floor. The protrusion of hardened magma is the lighter gray-colored rock from where steam has been seen wafting since daybreak. U.S. Geological Survey scientists estimate the new lobe is the equivalent of 1 football field wide by 2 football fields across. Seismologists believe the eruption began overnight. That's when earthquakes began to subside. A sign that seismic stress was being relieved once the lava broke surface. Mount St. Helens stopped exploding 6 years ago this month, following a series of violent eruptions. The first one killed 57 people and flattened 150 square miles of surrounding forest. This is the 18th non-explosive dome-building eruption since the volcano rumbled to life this decade after 123 years of dormancy. The nearest large city is Longview, 30 miles away, and scientists say it's residents are in no danger. The type of molten rock deep under the Cascade Mountain Range is thick and flows out slowly as kind of a magmatic paste, unlike Hawaiian volcanoes with rivers of lava when they erupt. The last eruption here was in May, 5 months ago, and the U.S. Geological Survey expects more of them will happen until the crater has been completely filled back in sometime after the year 2100. At Mount St. Helens, this is Brooks Burford reporting.
Coming up next on News 13, if you're looking for love in all the wrong places, we'll show you one new hotspot where singles are finding romance between the aisles.
In everybody's life, there comes a time when it is appropriate to step aside.
Tuesday, November 4th at 8 on Channel 13, the world premiere of Barbara Taylor Bradford's Hold the Dream. Deborah Carr is Emma Hart in the sequel to A Woman of Substance.
My grandmother always made it absolutely clear to you that she was only interested in cross communications if she took it over and owned it.
Jenny Seagrove is Paula Fairley, heir to the Hart fortune, or misfortune.
You invested in a company that was in direct competition with Hart Enterprises.
I'll get you for this, Paula Fairley. Sebastian and I will bloody get you.
Then there are the men in her life. Her husband.
What your grandfather did to my grandmother was unspeakable. Getting her pregnant at 16 and then deserting her.
Did you try and make her into a plaster saint?
Stephen Collins is her lover. James Brolin her enemy. Hold the Dream, a story of passion and power, also stars Claire Bloom. Tuesday, November 4th at 8 on Channel 13.
If you think all bathroom tissues are pretty much alike, you haven't discovered the Marina difference.
Marina, soft as a sea breeze, yet strong as the sea.
Marina, 2 plies of softness, 2 plies of strength.
Marina, soft as a sea breeze, yet strong as the sea.
Discover the Marina difference.
Who are you calling? You've been on the phone forever.
The Air Express Company. They won't pick up the phone.
Hold it. If you'd called Federal Express, you wouldn't be having this problem. Come with me. You see, Federal has the most advanced communication system in the business.
I didn't know that.
And this lets us respond to calls in seconds and give you information quicker.
I didn't know that.
Next time, call Federal Express. Why fool around with anyone else?
I think I'll call Federal. Then maybe I'll get this stupid phone off my ear.
They were 71 ordinary women of extraordinary achievement. Celebrate them at the Women of Courage exhibit.
Once upon a time, there was the boy or girl next door. Then there were singles clubs, cruises, health spas, where people went to mix and mingle. But the 80s have redefined the term meat market, and singles across the country are swapping numbers while cruising the aisles for cabbage and TV dinners. This recent singles night in Florida even heated up the frozen food section.
A lot of good-looking people. You know, usually you go to single dances, you see a lot of, rejects. Some fruit and vegetables. Prince Charming.
Do you think Prince Charming's going to be here, bud?
Could be. Somebody tall, somebody dark, somebody got a nice chest.
Yeah, a few items have walked by me.
Think there might be something in this, huh?
Possibility.
The owner of this market said so many people showed up to check out the goods. They ran out of the carts and even sold a few groceries. Singles nights are also held in a number of markets around the Southland. Who's been?
Not me.
Me
True
neither.
love at Ralph's. Can't beat true love at Ralph's. Thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow night.
We will see you then. Good night.
Take it easy.
Get lucky and lucky.
Yeah, there you go.
The following is a KCOP editorial presented by Rick Feldman, Vice President and Station Manager.
For 12 lucky Californians, the winning number is 1974. Under current law, state officers who served prior to 1974 will have their pensions increased by 70% in January of next year. The reason? Their office-holding counterparts are getting a raise, and they're eligible for a similar increase. Some of the 12 people affected are actually going to find themselves with pensions that are larger than the salaries they earned while in office. Their bounty will leave us with an annual tax bill of nearly $400,000. Over time, when you factor in survivor rights, Californians could pay close to $3.3 million because of this law. Enter Proposition 57. Passage of Prop 57 will amend the state constitution so that this group will be limited to the allowances they now receive, plus fair and reasonable cost of living increases. Their pensions would then be consistent with those given officers elected after 1974. We think Prop 57 is a needed piece of legislation. Some argue that these former officers have a vested right to this money, even if it's not deserved. KCOP says we're not going to give up $400,000 a year without a fight. Vote yes on Prop 57.
Please send your editorial response to Editorial Director, KCOP TV, 915 North La Brea Avenue, Los Angeles, 90038.
Did you get them?
Just got them. They came out great.
I showed them to all my girlfriends. They said you were gorgeous and a great dresser, and they wanted to know if you had a brother.
Did you tell them that you swiped my new campus jacket?
I didn't swipe your campus jacket. I just wanted to reveal the great upper bod.
Very funny. So when do I get to see you again?
Why? Do you miss me?
Nah. I just want my jacket back.
Campus at Kmart. Yes, Kmart.
It's here. Levitt's biggest sale. Levitt's showrooms have combined their nationwide buying power to bring you this money-saving event. Levitt's biggest sale. Special purchases have been pouring into Levitt's for weeks now. Our floors are loaded with exciting new furniture bargains. Everything has been retagged with new, lower prices. Everything is on sale. Everything is ready to go. All we need is you. Levitt's biggest sale. Going on now.
In 1915, my uncles founded the Van de Kamp Bakery. Some people have suggested that having my name in supermarkets throughout California has been a boost to my political career. I'd like to think I've been elected DA of LA County and Attorney General of California because I've worked hard, surrounded myself with good people, and have found solutions to difficult problems that have helped my fellow Californians. Excuse me. Try the chocolate chip cookies. They're terrific.
Thanks.
This is Channel 13, KCOP, Los Angeles, where you can see Wendy Rutledge and Tim Malloy weeknights at 10 on News 13. The Starship Enterprise is now on duty with nightly voyages.
There'll be no trouble.
Star Trek, weeknights at 11:30 on your Earth Station, Channel 13.